Yes.
So, Namaskar, good morning. On behalf of the Department of Science and Technology, welcome Director Vigyan Prasad, Dr. Nakul Parashar ji, resource persons, Dr. Bharat Bhushan, uh, Pradeep Shrivastava ji, Gaurav Jain from Vigyan Prasad, and in fact, our knowledge partner in implementing this program, my DST colleague and senior scientist, Dr. Rashmi Sharma ji, and the star attraction of this event and workshop, young researchers and scholars from various S&T institutions in the country, universities, laboratories, engineering institutions, etc., engage in the pursuit of scientific research and innovation to this third webinar on augmenting writing skills for articulating research. In short, AFSAR um, program. So AFSAR, in fact, is a unique initiative of the department under NCSTC umbrella, started in 2018, 3 years back, which primarily focuses on motivating young research and scholars, mainly PhDs and postdoc fellows, those who are doing high-end research, to write popular science articles or stories based on their own research work for common man or public in the country. So the importance of this kind of initiative stems from very compelling reason. Like as we all know, India is a knowledge production hub with a large pool of young research scholars. So globally, India is ranked third in terms of number of scientific publication output. So we bring nearly 1.36 lakhs or maybe more, slightly more than this, publications in a year as per our Scopus database. So far ahead of many developed and developing countries, including BRICS, uh, except China. China is supposed to be number two. And of course, if you look at some different databases, China is even rated number one as well, ahead of US. So we stand at number three. And also in terms of number of young scholars, researchers doing PhD, India is again ranked at number three. So India occupies a very prominent position in terms of, if you see, not only in terms of manpower, young scholars, but also in the knowledge production capacity. So, so if this is so, then we should have been seeing a lot of stories or a lot of science communication or research communication of the latest thing happening or trends coming out in the lab to the common, for the common man or the society at large. But unfortunately, we see that still there are large communications or stories coming out, from abroad. So primarily uh, due to their kind of, research scholars contributing toward this side, or they have been given some kind of a hand holding or imparted training or emphasis by which they are also educating their masses. But if we look at those kind of stories, probably they may make some sense, but not all the more a very great sense in Indian context. And neither you may able to associate them with their names, the foreign names. So probably it again becomes a challenge for
आई थिंक वो डीएसटी में कुछ लाइट की इशू है. श्रीवास्तव साहब, आवाज आ रही है आपको?
Yes, yes, I'm listening.
Oh, I think there is some electricity problem at DST campus. Both Dr. Parveen Arora and Dr. Rashmi Sharma dropped out. So we will wait for him and her. And
सर एक बारी फोन पे बात कर लेते हैं.
हाँ हाँ कर लो.
अगर ज्यादा टाइम लगेगा तो हम सेशन स्टार्ट कर सकते हैं.
ठीक. So before we will start formally the technical session, sir, we are now getting.
Hello. Hello.
जी सर. So because actually DST में light electricity की थोड़ी problem आ गई है. So we can continue with the technical session, sir. And thank you very much. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation as a resource person for this Avsar webinar. And so some queries are already has been received, and regarding how technical words should be written or not, how popular format, what is the popular format of writing stories. So we are going to address these queries during your discussion also. Hello. जी सर, आवाज आ रही है अभी? सर आप अनम्यूट कर लें.
हेलो. हाँ, यहाँ से कनेक्शन उड़ गया था.
जी जी. सो थैंक यू वेरी मच सर. एंड सर म्यूट हो गए आप.
हाँ.
ओके सर. थैंक यू वेरी मच एंड वेलकम सर. And we can start the technical session. Sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Please, over to you, sir.
Should I go ahead?
Please, sir.
So very good morning to all of you. Honorable Dr. Arora, Dr. Rashmi, I think if they are listening, Dr. Bharat Bhushan, Dr. Golf Jain, and all the young friends from across the country. It's a great honor to talk to you today. And let me open my presentation. Can you see the screen now?
Screen is visible, sir?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Yeah. So I'll be talking to you on a very important topic today, nanotechnology, small is beautiful. And here in the back, Just below, you can see in the slide, a very unique institute of CSIR, that is Central Drug Research Institute in Lucknow, where I spent 34 years of my life as a drug research scientist, working on the different aspects of the technology development of the drugs and pharmaceuticals. But I'll be talking to you not about the work I have done in CDRI as a drug research scientist, but I'll talk to you my hobby, and this hobby will tell you how we can make science very interesting. And that's the basic thing I'll be talking to all of you. And here, all of you can see we are not attending a seminar as usually used to happen 2 years back. It's a webinar. And what is the webinar? When you are conducting a seminar on the web, that is internet. And what is the advantage here? I'm sitting in Lucknow, Dr. Bharat Bhushan in New Delhi, and you, all of you are in different parts of the country, but we can see each other, we can interact, we can talk to you. And this is the advantage. We can chat, we can ask questions. And this is globally feasible. That means sitting here today, for example, I have an afternoon lecture in UK. So this is the advantage of the webinar. But what advantage the speaker has got? You can enjoy the cartoon, here, see the lower part of the presenter, and he is telling his wife, you can take this person as me, and he's telling, darling, I'm fully ready now to deliver a talk. Can I get a cup of tea before the lecture starts? So what happens, most of the time, the scientific lectures, they are very boring. And this is how you feel. And after some time, this is the situation which happens. But nowadays, nobody gets bored, nobody gets sleep. What they do, they take out their mobile and they finish from WhatsApp to Instagram and everything. And we as a speaker are very happy. We are thinking they are enjoying our presentation, but actually it is not. Why it happens? Because there is a communication gap between the experts and the people, so-called audience. So what happens, here, we have to maintain a connectivity, and until and unless the thing I'm speaking to you is not accepted by you, it is not enjoyed by you, you just leave it. So physically you may be present, but you cannot enjoy it. So today I'll take you to the world of SciTools, and through the SciTools, I'll be talking to you on nanotechnology and then related areas of nanotechnology. So before that, quickly, I'll tell you what are the SciTools. The cartoons, all of you know very well. You might have watched many of the cartoon channel like Disney, Nickelodeon, so many cartoon characters you must be knowing, Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, and all these characters, So cartoons are enjoyed by the kids to the president and prime minister of many countries, and they also enjoy Mr. Bean to Tom and Jerry. So SciTools are loved by everyone. So since I was a scientist, I thought, why not to make science interesting? And then I have got the idea of SciTools. So what are the SciTools? They are basically the visual cartoons, you can see them, and they are based on science. Their job is not to only make you smile or tell you about new researches, subjects, data, concepts in a very, but this is the thing, I can convey to you in a very simple way about new researches, subjects, data, concepts, and you can enjoy it, you can connect with it, and you can understand it. So suppose I have to give a lecture to you on parasitology, like malaria, filaria, dengue. I must first tell you what is a parasite. And if you cannot, for example, don't understand what is a parasite, then definitely you will not understand what is parasitology, and then you will not enjoy the lecture on malaria, dengue, filaria, and other parasitic diseases. So all of you know very well, the plants and animals which live or depend on others for their survival, they are called parasite, and study a parasite is known as parasitology. Now to make this thing clear, interesting, enjoyable, understandable, I add a cartoon, and these cartoons are all drawn by me, nobody else. So here you can see the Department of Parasitology, and in this dish there are parasites which are found in our body like Ascaris roundworm, Entamoeba histolytica, this flatworm, Taenia solium. And here they are all talking, and what they are talking, you can read here. They are telling, pointing towards the scientists, see these scientists, they exploit us for getting PhD, for publishing research papers, attending seminars, visiting abroad, and still they call us parasite. So who is the real parasite? actually it is not the parasite here in the dish, but the person on the right-hand side. So you can imagine, so one thing here, science part in on the left-hand side, right-hand side is a cartoon, and the combination of the science and cartoon gives a sign to. So you must have heard about the Brownian movement. All of you must have studied in your high school classes or intermediate, The zigzag movement of suspended particles in a fluid medium is called Brownian movement. So this cartoon was published by American Chemical Society and from New York, and it went to all over the world. And here to explain the Brownian movement, I had a cartoon. He is a professor or a scientist driving the scooter in a very zigzag manner. So here is the policeman you can see, and he is telling, this is not your lab. And remember, professor, you are a human being and not a particle to follow Brownian movement on the road. If you do that, you will have problems and all that. Now, this is, I delivered lecture on about 30 different topics. So one of the very important topic when you work in lab is lab safety. So I cover all the aspects of the lab safety, including the electrical safety. So here in electrical safety, if you have one socket, for example, this is the board here. From one socket, you cannot attach many plug points because all our instruments which are attached, they consume a lot of electricity, like magnetic resistor or heater or any other thing, So if we attach too many plug tops to one socket, what will happen? It will heat up, it may catch fire, and it may be dangerous for the whole lab. So this we have to avoid. But see here, this is she's a research scholar, and she's telling the boss that she's telling, sir, please allow my reaction also to be connected to this point. It's a very lucky point, sir. All those who have put up reaction using this point are postdoc in USA now. So please allow also my reaction to be attached to this, in spite of the fact that already so many plug points are attached to this socket. Recently, I wrote a book on Corona, that is Bye Bye Corona, using SciTools, and it was published by Vigyan Prasad, Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. So here, I'll show you one SciTool before I go on to the main topic of my work today, nanotechnology. And here, I want to tell you that when you make your presentation or your writing, you can add visual things. So you can add pictures, you can add a cartoon, but you can also add a SciTool if you wish. And this SciTool will make your presentation very, very interesting, very lively, and very enjoyable. So in the Corona time, one thing you must have heard millions of times is social distancing. What was that? It is a non-pharmaceutical infection prevention. That means without any medicine, how you can prevent yourself from the infection is that if you keep a safe social distance from a person who might be affected with Corona, who might be affected with COVID-19. And if you are away from him or her, there are no chances that Corona can reach to you. And if you are wearing a mask also, that's the best thing. So I take you to a designer mask emporium. And here is a lady scientist, a lady professor. She has come to buy a mask. The shopkeeper knows her very well, and he's telling latest electronics and nanotechnology is used to design this social distancing mask. I think you might have never heard about it, but here you can see it, just a cartoon, and he's telling if anyone reaching you close to 1 meter, it will give an alarm. It has a built-in Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and above all, it automatically changes the color matching to your dress. So you cannot deny buying this very unique social distancing mask. This is one of my book SciTool, which I wrote on Corona, called Bye Bye Corona. It is released by the Vigyan Prasad also. And now, why I'm giving a lecture to you on nanotechnology? What happens? Few years back, I was invited by German ambassador to deliver a lecture on microbiology in German embassy to number of his researchers and young scientists who visited Lindau, Germany to meet few Nobel laureates. And after coming back, they had a gathering in the embassy, and next day they were to visit the President of India. So I was invited and I gave a talk, and the ambassador of Germany was very happy to see the presentation, all using cartoons, So he said, tomorrow I also take you to meet your President of India. And that time, President of India was none other than Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. You can see him in the picture now. This is the Rashtrapati Bhavan. The Kalam Sahib is here. And what happens, in this meeting, which lasted for more than 1 hour, one scientist asked the question to Dr. Kalam, which is the latest area of science Indian scientists should work into. And his answer was nanotechnology. So during tea session, I had a time to talk to him, and then I made a cartoon for him. And after seeing the cartoon, he asked, "You are a scientist, why do you make cartoons?" So I said, "Sir, I make cartoons for science communication and science education on different, very technical, sometimes boring science subjects." So he said, "Why don't you make a lecture on nanotechnology?" So it is because of Dr. Kalam, this lecture is there in front of you, because I didn't do any work in CDRI on nanotechnology. My area was entirely different, the process technology, that was my area. And here, going to the main person who coined the idea of nanotechnology is in 1959, Richard Feynman. He gave a very famous talk, a lecture, "There is plenty of room at the bottom." And this lecture was attended by one of the IIT Kanpur professor, Professor D. Andhar. And in this lecture, Professor Richard Feynman said that I want to build 1 billion tiny factories, model of each of others which are manufacturing simultaneously. And the principle of physics, as far as I can see, do not speak against the possibility of maneuvering things atom by atom. And it is an attempt not to attempt and violate any laws. That means it is possible, we can do that. And that's how this idea originated. So I asked Professor D. Andhar, "Sir, what was the response to Dr. Richard Feynman lecture in 1959 when you were present there in the lecture?" And his answer was that everybody thought the professor has gone mad. How it is possible to build 1 billion tiny factories to the nano scale? And when I'll tell you nano scale, you'll be surprised, how it is, small it is. And this was the common response. "Surely you are joking, Mr. Feynman." So nanotechnology, the field of research innovation concerned with the building things and devices on the scale of atoms and molecules. So how much is 1 nanometer? 1 nanometer is 1 billionth of a meter. That means 10 to the power minus 9. So you can imagine how small it is. And then a nanometer is 1 billionth of the meter, I told you, and 10 times the diameter of hydrogen atom. And the diameter of a human hair is on average 80,000 nanometers. So you can imagine when you do things at this scale of 1 billionth of a meter, यानी हिंदी में कहें तो 1 मीटर का 100 करोड़वां हिस्सा, how difficult it will be for you to assemble things, to design things, to make things, and then to observe it, that was the biggest challenge. So here is one Netaji has come to the lab, and he's telling the scientist told him about the nanotechnology. He said, "Professor, you don't have even basic knowledge. Even a kid knows that nano is the first small car made by Tatas in India, and Tatas are Indians, not Americans." There are, in 1 inch, you can imagine how many million nanometers are there. A sheet of newspaper is about 1 lakh nanometer thick. So you can imagine, on a comparative scale, if a marble were a nanometer, then 1 meter would have been the size of the earth, how much small it is. And nanoscience and nanotechnology involve the ability to see and to control individual atom and molecule. So this is how we can manipulate things in the future. And here, the person on the right, extreme right-hand side, you can see, and he's being introduced, and he was, as Professor Yamamoto is the renowned nanotechnologist, as you are seeing him. He is a totally devoted, dedicated, and committed scientist in the area of nanotechnology. Now, actually, nanotechnology, the basic concept was given by Richard Feynman, but it was not this person who defined the size of nanomaterial. The size of nanomaterial, that is 1 to 100 nanometer, was defined by one person, Professor K. Eric Drexler. So he actually is the author of the book Engines of Creation. He defined that the size of the nanomaterial should be 1 to 100 nanometers. So if anything is bigger than that, it is not nanomaterial. And if it is smaller than that, it is not nanomaterial. So here you can see his picture. You can see him, how handsome he is looking. Can you see him? No. Because here, you know, in the center there is a nano picture. Now I enlarge it, and here is the person who comes, Professor Eric Drexler, you know, the man who defined the size of nanomaterial. Now, the term nanotechnology was also not given by either Richard Feynman or by Eric Drexler. It was given by a professor from Japan, and he was in Tokyo University, Professor Norio Taniguchi. He, in 1974, gave the term nanotechnology. So you can see his picture here. Now, at this scale, what will be the uniqueness of this? Why nanomaterials are so different? Why nanotechnology is so different? What happens at the nano size? The material characteristics such as color, strength, conductivity, and reactivity can differ substantially between the nanoscale and the microscale. That means, you know, I want to give one very simple example. You can take aluminum foil and pack your sandwiches, parathas in that. It is totally safe. Your pressure cooker at home, it's made up of aluminum, and you can heat it without any problem for 1 hour, 2 hours, nothing will happen. But the same aluminum, if you chop it down to 30 nanometer size, it becomes an explosive. That means at nanoscale, the properties of that aluminum is entirely different. It changes, the color changes, the strength changes, the conductivity changes, the reactivity changes. So here, two girls are there. One got married on the right-hand side. She got married, and she was telling her friend that she was a very nice, sober, and kind-hearted lady before. But after my marriage, she became totally changed. So I call her a nano mother-in-law. What I call her? A nano mother-in-law, because what she was before the marriage was entirely different, her behavior, her nature, and everything. But after the marriage, you know, she got totally changed. So nanotechnology is likely to be particularly important for the developing countries. It's very, very important for a country like India and our developing nations, because it is highly productive, inexpensive, and then it requires modest amount of materials and energy. So that means, you know, it's a very important technology for a country like India. So in an international conference on nanotechnology, lunchtime was there, a professor was invited. So many people were there. One professor went to take the lunch, but hardly he could see anything. All the plates were empty. But the chef was also a scientist, and he said, take it whatever you like, sir. Veg, non-veg, Italian, Thai, Chinese, continental, everything is in plenty. See carefully, we are serving nano food here. So actually all the plates are full. You cannot see them, you know, but plates are full. Take whatever you want. Now, Richard Smalley, a Nobel laureate in chemistry in June 1999, addressed to the US House Committee on Science and Benefit of Nanotechnology. See, when you want to do research on any topic, you need funding. And for funding, you have to approach like DST in India, you have to go approach CSIR, you have to approach DBT for getting funds, and then you can establish a lab or you can carry out your research work. So similarly, when the first time the scientists wanted to work on nanotechnology, so Richard is of the people be at least the equivalent of the combined influence of the microelectronics, medical imaging, computer-aided engineering, and man-made polymers developed in this century. So here, the scientists applied for a grant. Grant was obtained also, and both of them, you can see, neither the director is happy nor the scientist is happy. What is the reason here? And he says that they said our project is on nanomaterials, so we must be given a matching grant. So total money sanctioned is US $10 only against the amount of the US $1,000 million we applied for. He said the grant also has been sanctioned in nanoscale. This is the problem. They are unable to enjoy and they are unable to do work. So is today nanotechnology, many people ask, where is nanotechnology? So it is the best example of the nanotechnology, how you can explain it. like a tsunami. Tsunami, remember 20 years before when the Indonesian tsunami came, a wave started 20 feet high, and it was not causing any damage to any place, till it reached there. For example, it hit Andaman Nicobar to Chennai to Andhra coastal areas, and then once it came, it was obvious, it was very clear, it was visible, and then you can say in bad way it was devastating. So, but in a good sense, nanotechnology, when it will come, it will change entire thing, and it will affect everything from the batteries we use to the pants we wear to treat the cancer. So here is a professor, and he's asking the family members, oh God, I have got an invited lecture and I'm getting too late. Has anyone seen my nano laptop? Now, areas where nanotechnology has already been applied: medical and pharmaceutical, textiles, agriculture, information technology, materials, telecom, chemicals, automotives, energy production and distribution, aerospace, environment, defense. So hardly you can see anywhere the nanotechnology is not being applied or not making an impact. So here there are two smugglers, earlier they were smuggling things from Nepal and selling it to the people in India. But now everything is what is available in Nepal was basically coming from China, and everything is available made in China in India. So their business was gone. But suddenly this one smuggler is very happy with the hope. And what he's telling, why we should start our old business again, solid income, why nobody can catch that we are smuggling nanomaterials. That means police is not smart enough to catch us, So these are the nanocarbon tubes. You can see the cylindrical tubes. They are 6 times lighter than the carbon, but 100 times stronger. You can imagine, how strong they are. Sorry, 6 times lighter than steel and 100 times stronger than steel. And then it's a football-like, a ball-like structure, that is fullerenes, or the buckyballs. So these nanocarbon tubes are very, very strong. And imagine if your car is made up of these nanocarbon tubes, it will be very, very strong. You can hit to anybody. You can. And how we produce the nanomaterial? There are 2 ways, Particles, either they are smaller than the nanoparticle or they are bigger than nanoparticle. So if they are bigger and we can crush them, like, you can see the left-hand side, the milling, that means you break the bigger particle, bring down to the nano level of 1 to 100 nanometer. So this is called top-down approach. That means you start from the big, come to the small. And then there is another approach called bottom-up approach. What is that? You take the smaller particles which are smaller than nano, aggregate them together, and that's how they acquire the size of 1 to 100 nanometer. So this way you can have bottom-up approach. So there are many ways, you can produce like several plasma method is there, microwave radiation, chemical vapor deposition, pulse laser method, sonochemical reduction, gamma radiation. There are various ways you can produce nanomaterials. But I want to tell you one very interesting story of an Indian scientist, Dr. Absar Ahmed, who used to work earlier in National Chemical Laboratory, Pune, one of the CSIR lab. And now he's heading a nanotechnology center in Aligarh Muslim University. Dr. Absar Ahmed was working on a fungus called Fusarium oxyporum. So one day he thought, can I do some, may I see what impact it can have on solution of gold chloride and silver nitrate. So what he did, he put that fungus in that. And after some time, actually he forgot. So after 2 days, when he went back and he remembered his experiment, he found the color of the solution has turned from purple to brown. That means something has happened. And then he checked further, and he could not believe that even at the room temperature, without heating, without any very stressful condition, this fungus, Fusarium oxyporum, could produce the nanoparticle of gold and silver. This was a very eco-friendly method and very safe method. And this was something. And then how you can trust it, how you can believe, it is there. So he used transmission electron microscope and confirmed that the nanoparticle were of size of 6 to 14 nanometer. So this is one thing, so here you can see the fungus here in the gold chloride solution. And this fungus is talking to a rat in the lab, and the fungus is telling, oh yes, I feel very sad. Whole life I infected only and did nothing which you can call good. Now as a repentance, I thought to do some good work. Now, another very interesting thing is that henna leaf for nanoparticle. Henna means mehendi. So no marriage in India is complete without the use of a mehendi. Mehendi ceremony is there, before the marriage. When important Indian festivals come, the girls and the ladies, they go to have the mehendi in their hand. But mehendi is actually it has medicinal properties. Earlier days when our mother, grandmother used to work in home, and during the rainy season, most of the time, their fingers were dipped in the water. So that time they used to have infection, and mehendi was used as an antifungal compound and antibacterial compound. That was the main basis for using mehendi. But later on, it became a part of the ornamental thing, and that's how we know it today. So what happened, scientists discovered that in mehendi or the henna, there is a compound called apin. And this apin has the capacity to produce nanoparticles. This was something very unique, And if you use the chloroauric acid trihydrate and silver nitrate solution, and use henna leaf, then it was seen that the nanoparticle gold and silver were produced. So this was something, a very simple method, without going into very technicalities, very high-fi instrument, you can produce the nanoparticle. So here is the one girl, and she's having mehendi on her hand and sharing a story with her aunt, and she's telling, I'm totally broken, auntie. There was a boy actually who used to see mehendi on her hand every day. So she used to watch her, and she was very happy that maybe he has started liking her. So one day she proposed to him. But what the response of the boy? She's saying that he used to see me every day, so I thought he's in love with me. So I proposed him one day. But he said he's a nanotechnologist, and he was only interested in henna on my hand, as in mehendi on my hand, not in me. Applications of the nanotechnology. I'll share two areas, mostly the application of nanotechnology in medical, also application of nanotechnology in bio-inspired engineering. Bio-inspired engineering is a new area of science where you can use nanotechnology, and best thing is that bio-inspired engineering can best be explained like learning science from nature and using the same information, the same R&D achievement, output for solving the human problem. That is the basic purpose of the bio-inspired engineering. So I want to show you shells. आपने शंख देखे होंगे. Shells, if you are living near the seaside, you can collect shells. And remember, if you throw an iron rod in the marine water of the ocean, the iron rod gets rusted and it gets spoiled. But can you believe in the same marine water, a shell is there, sparkling, lustrous, shining, clean, beautiful, and it is very strong also. This shell, you cannot break with the horn. It is so strong. So if you cut it, the cutting section looks like the part of aircraft engine or the turbine engine. And what happens, scientists were studying on this, that can they use this material, which is a nanostructured shells, that's why they are very strong. So it was a small twist over here, can it make a change? But in the same time, these shells were found, and these shells I saw in Barcelona Science Museum in Spain. And here you can see this structure and this structure both have very different things. So scientists are working now that apart from producing the nano structured shell material for various applications, can we have this design which can be more strongly used as a or a hydroelectric turbine? There is his there, and he's telling the dad that if they design turbines of the aircraft on our ship, then will they air travel? Now, I want to show you what is a butterfly, and this butterfly is found in South America. These are the countries where it is found: Colombia, Peru, and Ecuador. And in these countries, this butterfly has got a very any small change in the vapor pressure of the surroundings, the color of the wings will change. So if you make a safety device based on this wing of the Marfo butterfly, which is called Marfo sulcovusci, that is the name of the butterfly, name of this butterfly. And if you produce this, you can make the safety device and you can install it in the airports, stadiums, shopping malls, wherever the safety requirement is there. And if any terrorist is coming with a plastic bomb, parts per million chemical will make this device to trigger, and then it makes a sound, and you can imagine you can catch a person out the sleep. So here patched, he has made some scars. So you can imagine you'll be furious, angry, will be boiled with anger that it's a new car, I bought it yesterday only, and today a naughty boy has damaged it. So what happens? The Mercedes company recently has launched a car, and it is using the nanoparticle ceramic material, which is coating on this body of the Mercedes car. So what will happen when you bring out the car in the sunlight? This ceramic nanoparticle material will expand, and that's the way your scratch or dent is gone. So that means, it's a scratch-proof car. And here, from where the idea came from our body. Most of the time when we were, our body used to be cut, a small cut was there, some small infection is there, you can see, but we never cared about that. The small wound is healed up, normally healed up, very quickly. That is the healing power of the body. That is the defensive mechanism of the body, that means to heal up the wound. So they learned from that. And similarly, now they have produced aircraft also. That suppose the aircraft is going from London to New York, in between Atlantic Ocean is there. And if in between there is a damage to the body of the aircraft, there are materials which will expand, and by the time it lands in New York, the body is completely repaired. The chemical will manage it. So here, this Mercedes is selling. Hi, come on kids, write on me whatever you wish. I would not scold you. I want to show you this aircraft. This aircraft is Dreamliner, one of the most beautiful aircraft of the Boeing company. And if you travel from New Delhi to Calcutta, it travels daily from Calcutta to New Delhi to Calcutta, and international sector also. Air India has got this flight, especially this model. What is unique about it? The body of this here, Dreamliner Air India, is made up of the nano composite material. So it is 20% lighter, and then more fuel efficient. And here, all these windows you see here, none of them have window shutters. So what they have done, they have used the nanotechnology. And here, if you want to have the darkness, you push a small button and your screen will be blue. So it is comfortable. If you don't want that, push another button next to the window, it becomes totally normally transparent. So this is how, if you can avoid a few hundred shutters, window shutters, you can further make the aircraft lighter. The more lighter is the aircraft, more fuel efficiency will be there. Now I want to show you one more thing. Lotus. This is the national flower of India, and on lotus, it is said there is no dust, there is no bacteria on that. How it is possible? Because it repels everything, and its antibacterial material is there. Its resistance has there, water repellent properties there, self-cleans material, anti-adhesive material. That means anything falling on this petal of the lotus flower or the leaf, nothing will stick to it. It will not cause any scratch to it. It will not have any withering effect. So same thing, our national bird of India is peacock. If you see the peacock feather, and if you put a water droplet here, the water droplet will not stick to the feather, it will roll down simply. So based on these two findings, that is from national flower lotus and the national bird peacock, scientists have designed nano cloths. That means, the cloths you can wear for 1 month without washing. I have got, now they are available in India also. You can buy jeans, you can buy t-shirt, you can buy shirts also. And they are made with the nano material, nano hairs, that is the technology used. That means like the duck hair, they repel the water, they repel the dust. And as a result, imagine when you are not washing your pant or shirt for 15 days, for example. So how many tons of detergent, billions of tons of detergent will be saved in the world, how much water will be saved, and then how much money you can save. So the company, unfortunately, is not an Indian company. There is a company in California, America, which started making nanocloths, and the name of the nanocloths is Nanotext. But if you might have seen during lockdown time, Ramayana was coming. In Ramayana, Sita ji was given some divine cloths, and these divine cloths were meant never to be dirty, never to be clean. So I think the nanocloth idea was as old as Ramayana time, but in this time, present time, Americans converted this idea and they produced the first nanocloths or the nano material which is used in making pants, shirts, jeans. So here is the husband of this lady, and husband is stinking like a dog. He came back after a tour of 1 month from a foreign and several other countries, and he said, wife asked, why you are stinking like a dog? It's a very bad smell coming from your class. What is the matter? He said, I don't know myself. You know, wherever I went for lecture, everybody used to leave the auditorium immediately. He said, did you take this brown suitcase with you? He said, yes. I said, oh my God. The nano class which I packed in the blue suitcase, you forgot here in Lucknow, and you took the normal class which you are wearing for the last more than a month. Now in curing diseases, now come on to the area of use of nanotechnology in medical science. So what happens, you know, today, we still don't know if any cancer is there. We have no technology to exactly, very precisely find out how many cells exactly are affected with the cancer, how big exactly is the cancer. Precisely, we are unable to detect and able to forecast, and then how fast the drug can be delivered, how fast the curing can be done. So here nanotechnology will play a very important role. And here, most of the animal cells are 10,000 to 20,000 nanometer in diameter. So what happens if you can make a nano device in the future? These nano devices, they can travel inside a cell, they can do the repair work, or they can do the diagnosis of a proper problem. And then if you have access to this information, you from diagnosis to the treatment, you can do wonders. So here you can see is the nano device in a cell. And they found a foreign particle in their cell. Come on, friends, attack and destroy the cancer cell. So what happens, this film I'm unable to show you due to some technical reason. Dr. Kalam saw this film in South Korea for the first time. And in that film, it was shown that in future in your body, nano robots will be there. They'll be traveling from one part of the body to another part of the body. They keep on checking each and every foreign particle coming to the body. They have a very strong database. The moment they discovered that it's a, for example, COVID-19 virus, and they think it is dangerous for the body, so they have fitted with the laser guns and they can kill immediately. And that's how our defense mechanism will be further stronger. Though it looks like imagination today, but you don't know in future, it can be the reality. Used for the theory of micro machines. And he said it will be interesting if surgery, if you could swallow the surgeon. How interesting, you know, one surgeon, you swallow it, it goes inside the body, and then what happens, it can reach the particular point, you can track that entire thing, it can do the precise surgery, and you can take it back from the body. So you can avoid, you know, the normal portion to be damaged, not any side effect or any other thing, you know. And if this is possible, it will change the entire medical science in the future. Human health has always been determined the nanometer scale. For example, one cell, no, everything is at the cell level. So this is where structure and properties of the machines of the life works, and in every one of the cells. And he said, if we have to cure body, we have to think on curing the different cells of the body, because only then we can have the cure. And this was the idea of Professor Richard E. Smalley, 1996, Nobel laureate. Now, why this technology is going to be very important? This is the DNA. You can see deoxyribonucleic acid. Why DNA is very important? Because whenever we get sick, it is the genes which are responsible. And in one disease, there may be one to many genes can be involved. And if we know precisely how many genes are involved, or there is any defective damage, is there any genes are defective, can we do the repair work at genetic level? And in that, the nanomaterials, nano devices will be a boon. So I'll show you one, where are the nanomaterials in our body? Sorry, where is the DNA in our body or the genes in our body? So here is the body. Our body has 100 trillion cells. And all cells in our body except RBC and platelet have a nucleus. Nucleus have chromosomes. We have 46 chromosomes, 20 from the father, 23 from the mother. And if you open chromosome, what happens? A ribbon-like structure comes that is called DNA. And a part of DNA doing a specific job in your body is called a gene. For example, my hairs are black. Why they are black? Because I inherited genes of the black color of my hair from my mother and father. If my mother and father would have been American with golden hairs, I might have got also golden hairs. So this is the whole thing. So you understand, this is the human body, then come to the nucleus, then chromosomes, then DNA, and a part of DNA doing a specific job in your body is a gene. And at gene level, can we do some changes? Can we do something? That's very, very important. So here is a scientist who came very late from the office and he's not eating the dinner. The wife is very angry. She's telling it's enough now. Do several times that don't do too much work on DNA project. Look carefully, Baba, and eat. It is not DNA, but Chinese noodles I have cooked for you. Now, what is nanomedicine, you know? So what happens, you know, it's a comprehensive monitoring, control, construction, repair, and also improvement of all human biological system, working from molecular level using engineered nano devices and nanostructures. You got my point? That how nano devices will be doing the monitoring, control, construction, repair of the defective gene and improvement of all human biological system. The science and technology of diagnosis, treating and prevention of disease and traumatic injury, of relieving pain and of preserving, improving human health, using molecular tools and molecules knowledge of the human body. So I think molecular knowledge of the human body is equally very, very important. The employment of molecular machine system to address the problems using molecular knowledge to maintain and improve human health at the molecular scale. So in curing disease, this I explained to you already, this I showed you, I think I'll quickly go. And biodegradable nanoparticles for delivery of cancer drugs. There are polyethylene glycol chains, you know, and they can be used as a biodegradable nanoparticle for delivery of cancer drug. That means they carry the cancer drug to any part of the body you want. And after that, they degrade without causing any damage to the body. And they perform the delivery of the drug to the concerned part of the body. So here is a boy who has come to the director of the research institute. He said, why can't you appoint me? It is strange that you believe more in nanoparticles than me. Look, I'm delivering pizzas for the last 10 years and always dot and time. So I can be the best person to deliver nanoparticle also. Then I told you, know, that nanoparticle accumulated to a large extent in mice too. What happens, you know, if you have to deliver at a specific place, then the nanoparticle must know where and which point they have to reach. And in this, you know, it's a direction that is very, very important, how you can direct them to reach to the particular point you want them to be delivered, or to treat the cancer or any other defective part of the body. So here is the nanoparticle, and he is telling human body is such a huge and vast area that I thought if while driving people use GPRS for reaching to exact destination, then why not me? For this nanoparticle, you know, the body is very huge and he can use GPS, you know, and thus follow the route, and he can reach to liver, other pancreas or heart or any part, you know, of the body very easily. So research have shown that bacteria may be used to deliver a small nanoparticle, because, you know, that's also a very nice way of doing it. And to a cell to precisely position sensors, drugs or DNA for the early diagnosis and treatment of various diseases. The release cargo is designed to be transported different locations to carry out disease detection and treatment. The two things are important. Either we can use them for detection. At the same time, we can also use these bacteria, for delivering the drugs for treatment also. That is very, very important. And this delivery system has been demonstrated in cultures of human cancer cells, including intestinal, oral, liver, ovarian, and breast cancer cells. And they also tested their method on the live mice and showed how the technique could be used. So here, this thing, these two coronaviruses are there. They are telling, I have got $1 million idea. Why don't we stop this bad work and start a transport company and start delivering nanoparticle all over the body, because everybody is getting vaccinated. So we have no scope to further spread corona. So why not to join for this new job and join the job of delivering the nanoparticle in different parts of the body, because we are already expert in infecting the lungs especially. So we have got an expertise to deliver anything to the lungs very effectively. Cancer detecting nanoparticles. See, this is the problem today, that at early stage the cancer, we are unable to detect that. And once the detection is delayed, the treatment is also becomes sometimes very difficult. So scientists have discovered there are peptide-coated iron oxide nanoparticle, and these peptide-coated iron oxide nanoparticle, if you put them in our body, iron is there, so you can track them, you can track their movement. And it was discovered that they exactly go and finally settle where the cancer cells are there. So that means at a very early stage in the human body, if you want to detect where the cancer is coming out, maybe in the first stage, you can use these peptide-coated iron oxide nanoparticle, watch their movement in the body, where they stop finally, do the further investigation. And if you do that, you can catch them. So what they have done, researchers injected the particles into the mice and tested their ability to locate a brain tumor cell called Q87NG. That means it was proved that once, for example, in your leg, for example, cancer is there. So you can insert these peptide-coated iron oxide particle in your hand and watch their movement. And if they finally settle and aggregate and collect at the leg point, you can say, yes, they have the ability to detect, to find out where at a very early stage the cancer is coming up. And once you know at an early stage, then treatment is also very easy, and it's very easy possible. The size of these nanoparticles which were used was only 8.4 nanometer. So here, peptide-coated iron oxide nanoparticles. So he was giving a lecture. Sometimes as a speaker, we have to make us very impressive to you. You think a great person is delivering lecture. Now all the experts, they are unable to follow what is PCIN. Said, can you explain what is PCIN? I said, you people don't know this, It's an abbreviation of the peptide-coated iron oxide nanoparticle, PC, peptide-coated iron oxide nanoparticle. The fidine molecule, that means the molecule which can kill the cancer, or other things, our body. Alzheimer disease, for example. Alzheimer is a disease affecting the people after 65 years of age. Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, dementia. These are the diseases which affect the elderly people. And in Alzheimer disease involves amyloid plaque, like the plaque you have in the teeth, So what happens, you can have brain stroke also if these plaques, they block the artery. So in CDRI, we developed a drug from turmeric for treating the brain stroke or the brain hemorrhage. And then one more discovery was done by other institutes, not done by CDRI, but other institute, that the curcumin capped gold nanoparticle inhibit amyloid formation. So if they inhibit amyloid formation, they can stop Alzheimer's. And here, what was done? You have used curcumin capped gold nanoparticle. That means curcumin, which is found in turmeric or haldi. And then with the gold nanoparticle, it is very, very effective in taking care of the Alzheimer's. So here, you must have heard about the turmeric vanishing cream. There is a company that produces turmeric vanishing cream. So here, director supplied 100 kilogram of turmeric to this person, young scientist, that you produce the curcumin from it, but there was no output. So he asked why you could not produce any curcumin. His answer is that, sir, ask her to turn the face and then her shining face will tell you where the entire turmeric has gone. Nanoparticles and HIV. For example, you must have heard that kings and queens, they used to take their food in silver and golden utensils. So what was the science there? maybe in nano quantities, this silver and gold used to come out from those utensils, goes inside your body, and it acts as a curable thing. So it was discovered that silver nanoparticle, they actually block this glycoprotein surface of the HIV, which causes AIDS. And once it is blocked, they cannot attach to our T4 cells. And if they cannot attach, then what happens? They cannot do the AIDS in our body, or they cannot cause HIV. So here, this HIV is here, you can see, and coated with silver nanoparticle. This is our body defense system, and they are telling, hey, you HIV, hold on, don't move further, no entry for you. So this discovery that the silver nanoparticle can block the receptive surface, of the glycoprotein, can make some to control AIDS. And this discovery was not just a joke, they studied this, in this high angle annular dark field scanning transmission differential electron microscope, which is a very powerful microscope to prove whatever the thing I'm explaining it to you on this slide. Now, all of us, we often get headache, but we don't drill our head and then put the paracetamol there. What we do, we eat a tablet, paracetamol tablet, goes to our mouth, then esophagus, then stomach, then liver, then it comes in the blood circulation, then causing the blood-brain barrier, then it goes finally, and our headache is cured. So this drug, which is required to cure our headache, is unnecessarily traveling through our esophagus, stomach, liver, other parts of the body. So it may cause damage to the path it is traveling through. So what happens many times, it happens that you are taking paracetamol, and then if you take in excess, it may damage your liver also. So what is the important here? Can we deliver the drug exactly where it is required without affecting the normal healthy cells of the body? So scientists have discovered that there are the compound photofrin, porphyrin series of the chemical compound. These photofrin compound you can put in the body, and they are totally inactive. They are safe for the healthy cells of the body. You can redirect them to the particular place, and then you activate them using laser light, and that time they become active and they kill the cancer cells. So what happens this way, it has been experienced in the cancer cells of esophagus, bladder, of the skin and brain. These areas, photofrin compounds, they're very effective. They can be successfully used without causing damage to the healthy cells of the body and only damaging the cancer cells. So what you got the message here, this is called photodynamic therapy. That means making a molecule active using light or the laser light, that is called photodynamic therapy. What is the advantage here? A specific, no side effect, no damage to the healthy cells of the body. And then recently, these photofrin compound also had some side effect like lesions in the body, red colors and all that. So the photochlor derivative were developed, and these photochlor, they are very effective in treating especially the oral cancer. So in oral cancer, chemotherapy and radiotherapy, it is not so effective. So here this photochlor, that means the photodynamic therapy, may be a big hope in the future for treatment of the oral cancer. So here the first patient which was treated by this photodynamic therapy was none other than the dog of Bill Gates. Bill Gates, the richest man in the world. His dog was having a tumor, and this tumor was cured by this photodynamic therapy. And then after that, a lot of people rushed to talk to the dog. So dog is very angry and is telling, why so much you and cry about me and the operation I had gone through? After all, I'm a VVID, like a VVIP, NanoX. So what happens, the cisplatin is a very effective drug to treat the cancer, to kill the cancer cells. But cisplatin is also dangerous to the normal cells of the body. It is 10 times more effective. Nanoplatinum is 10 times more effective than cisplatin to kill the cancer cells. But what is the problem here? It may damage the normal cells also if it is so effective. So egg, you might have seen that a yellow in the center is yellow yolk is there and surrounded by white. So yellow part surrounded by white, It is egg is there. So what happened? They took nanoplatinum like a yellow part and then surrounded with a cobalt shell outside. So it is moving in the body without damaging any other part of the body. When it reaches to the specific site, you give to the laser light, and then this nano platinum is released and kills the cancer cells exactly you want. So you can say the nano platinum has been discovered, but it is used as a nano egg technology kind of things for treatment of the cancer. So here is a Panditji, he got actually cancer, and doctor told that he was to be given nano X therapy. The wife got angry. She said, Panditji is very strong and very staunch vegetarian. You cannot give X to him. The doctor said, we are not going to give him real X. It is only the name of the technology that we are going to use for curing the cancer, which Panditji has got. So nothing, no way he's going to take X. Now in cosmetic therapy also, this is a very important technology. What happens? All of us have big tummy, and they might have seen advertisement come in the television that a person, too fatty person, they come out of the lift, the girl comes and they immediately hold their tummy back as long as she is there, and when she is gone, they release the tummy. So this is the problem. So what happens? Scientists have discovered that gold nanoparticles have the ability to dissolve the fat. So here you can insert the gold nanoparticle, dissolve the fat, use the liposuction, take out that fat, and then your tummy can be smart. In the cosmetic therapy also, University of California, San Diego, they have used nanoparticle. So here are the nanoparticle telling, thank you so much, nanotechnology. Now the good days are ahead. The tummy is telling. I want to tell you another thing. Recently, you must have seen that during Corona time, during the lockdown time, all the shops were closed. All the airports were closed. All the shopping malls closed. Picture halls closed. Why? Because most of them have the central air conditioning system. So if suppose 5 or 10 people sitting in the airport lounge with 3,000 people, they are sitting there and the same air is recirculated, then Corona or the COVID-19 infection can infect few hundred people also sitting inside the airport lounge. So that was the reason it was decided to discontinue, to stop all the areas where people are gathering together, and then the area where the centralized air conditioning system was working. So now all of us, when we buy new air conditioner today in India, all our air conditioners are fitted with titanium dioxide compound, this nanocrystals of titanium dioxide. What is the unique about them? The moment air passes through this coating of the titanium dioxide, the bacteria are killed, but not the virus. So recently it was discovered in Corona time that nickel foam, at the nanoparticle of the nickel foam heated at 200 degrees centigrade, if you pass the air through it, 99.8% of the Corona is gone. And if you pass it again, cool it and recirculate it. So in future, if this technology becomes adaptable, feasible, what happens? Even in the worst of the kind of viral infection or bacterial infection, there is no problem. You can open the shopping mall, you can open the picture hall, you can open the airport, you can open the metro stations or the metro trains, because they have been fitted with the nickel foam nano material, and this actually takes care and this kills all the virus and bacteria. So this is a thing. So here there are two bacteria, they are talking with each other. He said, don't go near air conditioner at all. Yesterday, my uncle was very exhausted. He came from the market. So he thought to cool himself. So he went to the AC without knowing that this AC has not only the titanium dioxide coating of the nanoparticle, it has also the coating of the nanoparticle of nickel foam. So the moment air came out, immediately uncle died. So no way, you should not go to the air conditioner at all. Now scientists have made cloths also. And these cloths actually, they can kill the bacteria virus the moment will happen, that you can wear pant, shirt, and then what you can do, you can wear mask, you can take specs, you can move on to any place, without being apprehensive that you may have viral or bacterial infection. So this is the kind of research which is going on. Microscopic nanoparticle designed to capture bacterial viruses. They are coated on your pant and shirt or cap, and they can kill the virus of the bacteria. So here is a boy and he's telling, "Hi coronavirus, where are you? Bring all your cousins, brother and sisters. Come on, my dress is ready to absorb you." So I think with these words, I think I have few minutes. I'll quickly, I'll talk to you a few things more which you can enjoy.
Thank you very much, sir. You can see the comments also. It's really encouraging and fantastic presentation as usual. Are you getting my voice? आवाज आ रही है रश्मि में?
जी आ रही.
Thank you, sir.
Just quickly, I'll share a few things I think they will enjoy.
You can see the responses in chat box and Q&A sessions also. So it's a very informative lecture. And a few queries were there.
Yeah.
So I can take, I replied. So I can take which is pertaining to relevant to you.
Yeah.
I made a SignTune based on my research inspired by you, Dr. P.K. Srivastava, and submitted my story last year. But I thought I did not, I thought I did my best in my writing and portraying my research in a very understandable way. But yet my story was not even shortlisted. I could not understand the reason. So
I think it's everything is important. It acts as a flavoring only of the cake. The cake has to be tasty. So
I think, sir, I have read in the chat box that the various requests that we need this fantastic presentation. But I would like to add here that this fantastic presentation, because you own it, that is why it looks fantastic. So that is the also the add-on to the what the person is asking, that he has been inspired by you, and so you have to own your research, you have to understand it and then present it in a nice way. The way, sir, even if I take the presentation of Dr. Srivastava and I try to explain it, unless I own it, I will not be able to do justice to that.
Yes, Dr. Rashmi. I think some of the students, they want how to, I'm just reading their messages. They want to learn how to create SignTunes.
yes.
So I can request Dr. Bharat Bhushan, I can have a virtual workshop. I can train them because I conduct national workshop on SignTune making. Not only in India, but in different countries I have done, in Turkey, in Spain, in Australia, in Nepal. So I think in future we can have a workshop and maybe in just 2 hours I can train them, how SignTunes can be created. And your text must be very good. Only then SignTune can make some change, because cartoon, just I told you, the cake must be very good. Only then the flavoring will add to it. So icing will add to it. The cake has to be tasty. So you have to work very hard. My suggestion to young research scholars is that I told you in few slides in the initial application of nanotechnology, an area called bio-inspired engineering. This is a very latest area of science, and in which you can learn and study nature and how nature is going to help us in future. This is the latest area, more advanced than nanotechnology today, is bio-inspired engineering. So I wish that you should work on that. Maybe next time, if it is possible, I'll talk to you specifically only on bio-inspired engineering, that you can learn, you can enjoy how to learn from nature, and using the various sciences like physics, chemistry, biology, and nanotechnology, you can copy that idea and then use it for solving the human problems.
Sir, my request to you is, whenever you are doing this national workshop, so kindly let us know also, because we will give that link on our website, and maybe we can use our database and we can
no, I think right now I don't have any thing in picture, because mostly they were offline workshop which I conducted. everywhere.
Okay, sir.
So, but I think you can conduct, why not, I asked Dr. Bharat Bhushan, we can organize a workshop virtually also, no problem. And then we can train them, because I'm a scientist, hardcore scientist, R&D scientist. Only thing was my drawing was very good when I was a kid. So how a scientist changes to a cartoon is very interesting for the people to watch. And then little knowledge of art can make you a very interesting scientific maker. And in studies, if you add it, it's very, very easy, because today was my 1391 lecture which I delivered today. So I keep on delivering lecture from Asia to Africa to Europe to America to Africa, all 5 continents I keep on traveling. What is the advantage I have got? It's only the power of communication using sign tools. So I'm very happy in MSc syllabus in India, in B.Ed syllabus, the sign tools have become a part of that. Few students have used sign tools in the thesis also. When they come to me, they show me the work and they ask me to make sign tools. So more students can create sign tools themselves and they can use in writing. And that is the main purpose of the workshop, how you can add visual impact. Whenever we read an article, any picture is there, we jump it to first. So if any cartoon is there also with the article, we jump it to first. So I think you can learn the art of using visuals in your presentation, using cartoons, using sign tools, using other things. And main purpose is to make your article, your thesis or anything very interesting, very enjoyable for others, so they can learn it properly. They can understand each and everything in a very simple manner.
Thank you very much, sir. And due to some technical glitch, Dr. Rasmi Sharma could not able to present about glimpses of our program, and some technical details are also we are getting queries. What will the word count? What is the expertise? What is the how to submit it all? So, sir, if you have time, shall we continue with your presence also?
Yeah. I can show for 15 minutes. I can talk to them. They can enjoy the presentation.
So there are queries also, few queries which we will take up during discussion session also. So now I will request Dr. Rashmi Sharma ma'am to present the insights.
Sir, it has been a learning experience for me. I have been listening to you from past 3 years, and it is always like with each presentation we learn a lot. So I hope that all of the participants must have enjoyed, because it was having a lot of wit and humor also, and as well as a lot of knowledge and information. So I would now share my presentation, which is about the Avsar.
So meanwhile, I would just like to tell the participant, you will get a link for feedback, and later on after submitting the feedback form, you will get the e-certificate. So ma'am, please.
Yeah, actually, augmenting writing skills for articulating research, as the name depicts, it was basically initiated with a lot of deliberations on various forums and for various forums and platforms, that the whatever science is being conducted in the research lab is not being communicated. So we thought that why not start a program where we can augment the writing skills of the researchers, and the researchers should be whom we should be targeting to. So the researchers should be the young researchers, because they are considered as the backbone of our scientific ecosystem. So the goal of this program was to foster and strengthen the science communication ecosystem in the country. So this program was basically the bridge of to reach to this goal. And the objectives of the program was to encourage young pursuing PhDs and in SNT, and they were encouraged to submit at least one popular science article based on their research work during the tenure of their PhD or their postdoctoral work. And for this purpose, we started doing capacity building workshops like the one which we are doing today, so that they should know what are the tips and tricks and how they can make their articles interesting. This was conducted to enhance their writing skills, because whatever guidance they get in their labs is basically for writing the technical articles and not for the popular science articles. So we thought that the capacity building will give them the power, give them the facilitation to write interesting articles about their own research. So we conceptualized various award reward mechanism where we would select the best articles, and the last objective was to that we should be able to disseminate whatever R&D is conducted in the lab to the masses in easy to understand language. So we had constituted two awards categories, for one for PhD scholars and the other one for postdoctoral fellows. In PhD category, we have three awards. First prize for 1 lakh, second prize for 50,000, third prize for 25,000. And apart from these three awards, we are selecting 100 entries for rupees 10,000 each and certificate of appreciation. Under the postdoctoral fellow category, we select one outstanding story for rupees 1 lakh and 20 selected stories for rupees 10,000 each and certificate of appreciation. I would like to add here that it is not that we are selecting the three awards only. If our committee feels that we have good stories and there are, as per our marking system, the two stories are getting equal marks, then we can give the award to two stories also under whatever category. We have done it in the second round of Avsar. We had given 8 prizes during that second round of Avsar 2. So we have created a dedicated website where these participants or the young scholars can go. It is an exhaustive website where you can get all the information and resource material related to Avsar program. You can submit your stories through this website. The experts can evaluate the stories through this website. And we also announce our results and other like information related to workshops on this website. This is the statistics of Avsar. Avsar is a very, very popular program. In last 3 years, we had around 8 lakhs of visitors, if you see the current status. And we have the participation of more than 13 countries, United States, United Kingdom, Japan, China, etc. And we have made it active on Umang platform also, which is a one platform where all the services, more than 600 services of the government and state governments are available. So we have, for the ease of operation, we have made it active on Umang platform also. So you can now access the Avsar website through mobile app as well. We have conducted in last 3 years, we have conducted 17 workshops, 10 workshops in physical state and 7 webinars, because last year we were stuck with Corona. So we thought we should not stop with the program. We should keep on going, and this will give the youngsters food for thought. They will think and write in a creative manner about their own research. And we got a very good response during Corona. We had seen that a participation of more than 5,000 young researchers in the webinars. If you see the statistics of 2018, 19, 20, we have the registration of more than 16,000 young scholars, and total stories submitted are more 6,640. And we have given awards in last 3 years to 393 young researchers. We have received stories in 10 different categories, including agriculture, chemical, earth and atmospheric science, engineering science, health science, life sciences, mathematical science, physical, computer science, and those stories which does not fit into these categories are considered under the others. Maybe there are certain interdisciplinary research work which the candidate feels will not fit into these categories, and they submit it under the other categories. And the largest number of the stories we have received are from the health sciences, followed by the engineering sciences, and we have received very less stories in mathematical sciences. So we expect that the stories under computer science, physical science, and mathematical science will enhance in the coming years. And we do get a small number of stories in Hindi as well, because we are not saying that we are expecting stories in English only. We accept stories in Hindi as well. We have got the stories from all the states. From we are connected to each and every part of the country. And what we have done is the stories which have been awarded by Avsar, we have compiled it into a book format, which is having a ISBN number, which can be useful for the awardees. And the book is named like Avsar Best Popular Science Stories by Scientists for the People. This name is because the scientists, whatever work they are doing, so that has to be depicted in a popular way for the people. So the aim of the program was to communicate science which is being done by the young researchers to the people. So that is why we have kept this name. Apart from this, we are translating this book into different languages, Bangla, Tamil, and Hindi. They are under compilation. So we have to, we will maybe in future we'll take other languages as well. Now, we have expanded in last 3 years in horizontally. We have seen that we have covered almost all the states. We have got stories in different areas, and we have conducted workshops with the participation of researchers from across the country, and we have conducted physical workshops in different areas of the country. So now we thought that we have done enough for its expansion horizontally, and we should not stop. So we would like to add new dimension in the coming years, and we are thinking of adding another category, that is audio video award under Avsar, and Avsar internship. The Avsar internship will be more towards selecting the best Avsar awardees for an internship with a global magazine. So that is how we are taking it up. We are not stopping at what we have done. So I hope that you will also not stop in learning and in writing about your research in more and more creative way. So if you see, we have done a survey, and we found that last year in November we did this survey, that our Avsar awardees, they have started writing the popular science articles in various forums and blogs, and we found that 74 popular science articles have been published in newspaper, print magazine, blogs, or other scientific forums. So we wish that the researchers will continue, young researchers will continue, because they have a lot of zeal, enthusiasm, and they want to learn more and more. So we wish you best of luck. And the last date for the submission of the stories is 30th September of the end of this month. And I wish that all of you, those who are participating in this workshop, will submit a story. Thank you very much. And my colleagues will now explain about the evaluation parameters of this program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. And we are getting queries for submission also, guidelines, criteria, where we can get the resources which we are doing, like webinar recordings, etc. So for this, I would like to request my colleague, Dr. Gaurav Jain, to explain the Avsar website and submission criteria, how to submit the story. Dr. Gaurav, please.
Thank you, Bharat sir. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, let me share the screen. So screen visible hai?
Uh-huh.
So, hello everyone. This is the Avsar website. This is avsar-gst.in. You can visit the website and browse the various features and categories under this website. So, like if you want to know the various categories, so these are the categories. For PhD, we have 3 prizes, first, second, third, and 100 consolation prizes. And for postdoctoral, there are 21 prizes in total. One is for outstanding story of ₹1 lakh and 10,000 each. Similarly, this is the criteria, selection criteria. You can have a look, the selection criteria. These are the guidelines that how you submit your story. What are the guidelines for writing your stories? Then there is a section called workshop where you can see the links for previous workshops and also for forthcoming workshops. This is Avsar in Media. All the Facebook pages and our YouTube link you will find under this category. These are the publications. So far we have published booklet, 2018 booklet, 2019 booklet, where you will find all the awarded stories in a book form. Again, under resource kit section, you will find awarded articles, various science writing references, sample research stories, and some of the presentation from our experts. So now I will show you the process of submitting a story. So first you have to sign up. Once you sign up, then you have to sign in. I have created one demo account. So when you sign up, you will see this link, submit your story. When you click on submit your story, it will ask 2-3 questions like, have you earlier submitted your story? If yes, then you need to give the reference number and title of the story. And if yes, then are you Avsar awardee? So like right now I will click on no. Then you click on submit your story. So basically this is the form where you need to fill in all the details. This time we have added this Aadhaar number also. So you have to put your Aadhaar number here and also attach a JPEG file. Further, your qualifications, your PhD details, your supervisor details. And this is the section where actually you upload your story. So the word limit of your story is in between 1000 to 1500 words, and the supported file format is doc. So you need to submit your story in doc format. So you can fill this form anytime and you can save this form. But once you preview and submit this form, then you are not able to modify this form. So remember, when you are sure that now I have nothing to change, then you only submit. Before that, you can fill the form and save it for future so that you can modify this form. So any question related to website or submission, you can ask.
And there are some queries जिसमें वो लोग पूछ रहे हैं कि certificate कब मिलेगा, कैसे मिलेगा? What will the
certificate for participation?
हाँ, for this
workshop participation. हाँ, वर्कशॉप पार्टिसिपेशन का हम फीडबैक फॉर्म एक भेजेंगे, उसको आप फिल करके हमें भेज दीजिए और जैसे ही आप फीडबैक फॉर्म भेजेंगे आपको सर्टिफिकेट का लिंक मिल जाएगा. इट इज अ ई सर्टिफिकेट. ड्यू टू कोरोना अभी प्रिंट फॉर्म में हम सर्टिफिकेट नहीं दे रहे हैं. ई सर्टिफिकेट आपको आपके ईमेल में मिल जाएगा.
And we are only accepting in docs for doc format only, na? PDF.
Yeah, doc format only.
And
I
we,
think Bharat, there was a question regarding when the certificates for previous UPSCL winners will be issued, which I have mentioned that we are ready with the certificates and it will be issued within 15 days.
so Srivastava sir, and there are questions for limitation of word limit also. The minimum word limit is 1000 word and maximum is 1500 words. If anybody is not awarded earlier, they can apply for this year also. And so some person has raised their hand, so I'll ask their name to. Srivastava sir.
5.
हेलो सर, आवाज आ रही है आपको?
यस यस।
लोगों ने पूछा है कि उन्हें कार्टून नहीं आता है, दे डोंट नो हाउ टू मेक कार्टून, सो क्या कोई ऐप है या कोई इंटरनेट बेस्ड कार्टून वो लोग लेके यूज कर सकते हैं?
नहीं, इंटरनेट पे आपको देख लेना कि कॉपीराइट के अंतर्गत तो नहीं है वो, नहीं तो कॉपीराइट की प्रॉब्लम आती है। और इसीलिए बेस्ट होता है कि क्रिएट योर ओन, तो आपका अपना वो है, उस पर कोई कॉपीराइट की जरूरत नहीं है। और कई लोगों की क्वेरी डॉक्टर भारत देख रहे थे कि इस पे है कि हाउ टू मेक साइन ट्यून्स, सो आई रिक्वेस्ट यू दैट इफ यू कैन हैव अ वर्कशॉप तो आई कैन ट्रेन देम। एक और सवाल था कि मेरी ड्राइंग बहुत अच्छी नहीं है, बट कैन आई मेक साइन ट्यून? तो इसमें एक आप सबसे बात कहनी है, इट इज आइडिया विच इज मोर इम्पोर्टेंट। ड्राइंग से उतनी इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है, ड्राइंग कम भी हो तो चलेगा, लेकिन अगर आपका आइडिया बढ़िया है, जैसे 2 बैक्टीरिया का मैंने कार्टून दिखाया था, ये मेरा कार्टून ट्रेंड्स इन बायोकेमिकल साइंसेस इंग्लैंड के जर्नल में छपा। कुछ नहीं था, 2 बैक्टीरिया बनाने थे, लेकिन वो इतना पावरफुल मैसेज था उसमें कि उसमें जो ओरिजिनल कार्टून था, तो एक बैक्टीरिया दूसरे से कह रहा है, आई फील टेरिबली नेग्लेक्टेड नाउअडेज, आई विश टू बी रीबॉर्न एज एड्स वायरस। क्योंकि बैक्टीरिया हो के कोई जिंदगी में कुछ बचा नहीं था, तो आप तो ये होगा कि वो कहेगा आई विश टू रीबॉर्न एज कोविड-19 वायरस। तो इस तरह से ड्राइंग इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है, इंपॉर्टेंट है आपका ये है कि आइडिया कितना इंपॉर्टेंट है। और इस सेट ऑफ माइंड, जब आप, जैसे मैं 30 सब्जेक्ट्स पे लेक्चर देता हूँ, तो जब आप एक सोचने लगते हैं ना, तो आपको फिर उसमें ये होता है। और गौरव अगर 5 मिनट हो तो, सॉरी भारत, तो मैं इनको थोड़ा सा बच्चों को टिप दे सकता हूँ।
जी सर, प्लीज सर, प्लीज।
Can you see the screen now?
Yes.
ये एक स्टोरी है, आई थिंक आई वांट टू शेयर विद ऑल ऑफ यू दैट many times we think, you know, we alone cannot do anything, we cannot make any change. This is the story of a starfish, you know, a very interesting, inspiring story. What happened, there were actually 1 lakh starfish. They came from tide, you know, to the sea beach, and they would have died. So one person suddenly was passing nearby and he thought, let me save them. So he used to take 2 starfish, walk to 100 meters, put them in the ocean, then come back, then do like that. So American Army helicopter was going, the pilot and co-pilot was there. So the pilots saw the whole scene. They said, let us go down and see what is happening. So both pilot and co-pilot went down and asked the man, what is the matter? He said, you see 1 lakh starfish are there and they may die by the evening, so I want to save them. He said, but you are only one. How can your work can change the world? So उसने कहा, sir, I cannot change the world, but when I take these 2 starfish in my hand, it looks to me that they are saying to me, I have changed their world. So that inspires me. And so co-pilot was very impressed, and he went to the pilot and told the story. And then pilot said to co-pilot, you stay this man, save whatever you can do. I'm going to the nearby city. So 30 kilometers far was the city. He went there, spoke on television and radio. And then what happened, within just 1 hour, 50,000 people reached to the beach. And how many starfishes were there? 1 lakh. So if one person took 2, that means all starfishes were saved. and how it was possible, because the positive thinking is the first person. So never think you alone cannot make a change. And I want to tell you another thing. This very interesting story about this girl. Many times we hesitate. Why we should participate in Avasar? We'll not get any award, people will make fun of me, all these things. But always, if you have a talent, if you have something in mind, express it. So there is a very interesting story about a girl. She was living in America. And this is the story when the Abraham Lincoln was fighting for the election of the president of the United States of America. So what happened before becoming the president, Abraham Lincoln used to look like this. So there was a girl, Grace Patel, and this girl actually saw the picture, and she was 11 years old. She wrote a letter to Abraham Lincoln that, Mr. Lincoln, you don't look handsome, so you will not get votes of American ladies. So I have a suggestion to you, grow beard, and all American ladies, they like beard. So they will vote for you, you'll become the president of the United States of America. And she posted the letter to Abraham Lincoln. Letter reached to the office of Abraham Lincoln, and then one of the employees threw the letter. What a bullshit she has written. But Abraham Lincoln was passing nearby and he saw the paper. He took it up. He read that, kept it in his pocket, and then he took it very seriously. He grew the beard, and the election was held, and after that he became president of the United States of America. So the first visit of American president was to a very small village near New York side. So everybody was surprised why president is going to a small village where a train goes, and he was going by a train. So nobody was knowing till Abraham Lincoln reached there, and he said that I have a friend here. You can see the picture of Grace Patel, this girl. And Abraham Lincoln said that I want to meet her. Now the parents of this girl were scared. They said, oh my God, she had written a letter to Abraham Lincoln telling you don't look handsome. So we are gone, we are going to be jailed. But Abraham Lincoln was repeatedly saying, no, I want to meet that girl. And when he said, I am today president of the United States of America because of that girl only. Then they came forward, the girl went to him, the parents went to him, and then the whole thing was told by Abraham Lincoln. And then Abraham Lincoln, what happened, this is the original letter of Abraham Lincoln, which he wrote back to the girl, and there is a memorial there in that village. What is unique in this, that after that, this letter was framed in a golden frame and kept in the White House. So you can imagine the power of expression. If you have something in mind, don't hesitate, express yourself. And many times people harass you, they discourage you, they don't want to motivate you. So don't give up. There is a story of a frog, and frog was deaf actually. He was unable to hear. So one day he thought, let me jump to the tree, nearby tree. So he said, I want to climb to the tree. So all the frogs started laughing, and they were making a clap, and they were making fun of him. He thought, since he was unable to hear, he was deaf, he said, okay, they are encouraging me. And that motivation gave him a chance to really jump to the tree and reach to that tree. So I think we should be negative to our these thoughts, who many of the people around you, they always say, Arey, it's useless. Why you you do other things, For several things they do say like this. This is the story of 6 people that will inspire you like anything. The basic idea I want to share with you is that people who are winner in life today, people who are achievers today, whether as a scientist, whether as a politician, whether as an actor or anything, they have one attitude in their life, that never ever give up. Remember, failure is the first ladder to success. यानी आपकी असफलता ही सफलता की पहली सीढ़ी है. If you take it positively, you are going to be a winner. Once you become a winner, you become a leader. Once you become a leader, the whole world follows you. So I tell you the story of 6 people. Albert Einstein, you know very well. For 4 years, he was unable to speak even a single word. So his mother, when she took him to the school, teacher rejected. They said, this boy cannot speak. Take him to deaf and dumb school, and like this. But same boy started speaking after 4 years. And what Albert Einstein became after that, you all know very well. This person, This person, do you know him? Any idea? He's a very famous basketball player. And this person was actually rejected. His name is Michael Jordan. He was rejected initially when he was in high school from a basketball team. But later on, what happened? He took it positively. He never gave up, and he became one of the best basketballer of the world, Michael Jordan. You can imagine Walt Disney, Tom and Jerry, this Donald Duck, Mickey Mouse, all the character today, they have Donald, this Disney park in the world running a business of billions and billions of dollars. Initially, he was not given any job in any studios, telling that your imagination is poor, you don't know anything, you don't know how to draw and all that. He never gave up. Then Steve Jobs, story you know very well, the man who is everything of Apple. Can you believe he established the company Apple, and once he was thrown by his own people from his own company, but he never gave up. Today, Apple laptop, Apple computer, Apple iPhone, you know very well, and Apple house and other things coming from that. Fantastic. This is the lady Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey is American anchor. I have seen her many programs when I was in America. She is a small girl, in height is not good. She was black. She went to the studios and she said, I want to become television anchor. Everybody made fun of her. You are short-heighted, you are black, you cannot become an anchor. She never gave up. And today she is the best anchor in the whole world. You can see Oprah Winfrey. If you are invited by her, you are the luckiest man on the earth to be interviewed by Oprah Winfrey. So never ever give up. Beatles story, they were singers. Initially also they were rejected. So one story, one word A is there. If you write from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up to 999, A is not there. But when you write 1000, the A comes. And what it does is state that even if you are defeated, if you fail 999 times, never give up and bounce back. Once you are a winner, whole world knows you. So this is the last thing I want to share with you. Never ever give up. This is the story of the life. We all have 99.9% DNA same. What DNA I have? Dr. Rashmi Sharma to Dr. Bharat Bhushan to Dr. Parashar to Narendra Modi to Amitabh Bachchan to Katrina Kaif, to Joe Biden. What happens? 99.9% DNA same. Remember, that means we have every ability to become best in the world. But then why we don't become the best? Point one is very important. 3.2 billion base pairs are there. So what happens? Point one is there, your hard work, your sincerity, your commitment, and your passion to fight back if you fail in life. If you have that 0.1%, you can be a winner. And best thing is that only secret is that never ever give up. So I tell you, when I coined this My Science as Scientonics in South Africa, it was in 2006, I was there. So in the evening, there was a beach party. I was invited by these South African drummers, two of them. They are also scientists, but they were drummers, traditional drummers. When I was invited to play the African drums, I was so scared. I never played African drums in my life. I had never seen African drums. But I thought 99.9% the same DNA which they have, I do have. So let me try my best. So I went there, I played the African drummer. Next day, they announced the Beach Party Awards. So 10 Beach Party Awards were there. So after 5 awards, they said the best dancer award go to a person from India, a person, my friend from CSIR lab. He was from Haryana. So 3 Idiot film आपने देखी होगी ना, जब अपने दोस्त को मिलता है ना तो ज्यादा लगती है यहाँ पे. So I was same thing I felt. After that, what happened? 9 awards announced, my name was not there. I said, okay, so what? I have done my best. I tried my best. I gave my best. I did not get the award. So what? I have tried and I don't repent that I have not done things. But then it was you can say a miracle. They say the 10th award goes to a man from India. And then they say the man is an overall Beach Party Award winner, and they gifted me a real African drum. You can see it here. It is there right behind me in my room, from where I'm giving a lecture to you. And then, so this is an example. Up to 11th hour, up to the last moment, you have to fight till you are alive. Never ever give up. I think if you can be a winner, in life, forget about your PhD, forget about I am sharing these experiences to be a successful person in life. So with these words, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for such inspiring stories. And we hope that everybody has they are inspired enough and motivated enough to submit their stories. So I hope that they will be submitting their research work in the popular format.
And Rasmi